Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Khay Vegan channel. I am your host, Khay Vegan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is my first day of me talking about how to eat dining out Asian cuisine. And within the Asian community, because it's really, really broad, I'm going to first start off with the Japanese culture. But before I get there, I just want to shortly introduce myself. If this is your first time on my channel, again, Kay Vegan. That is my nickname. Real name is Kalima. Welcome, 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 and thank you for tuning in. I have been technically a vegan for the past 2 years. However, I have been on this journey overall for 30 years. And when I say 30 years, guys, I mean I went through the whole transformation. That means giving up the meat slowly. The first time I gave up meat was over 30 years ago. That was with beef. I gave up beef over 30 years ago. And then within over the years, I gradually just focused on poultry and fish. And then I just converted to fish, which is the pescatarian diet. I was on the pescatarian diet for about, I'm going to say, maybe almost 2 years. And then I transitioned to plant based, and then I fully got here to vegan. So when I say I know the steps, what it takes to fully transition, I have necessarily took the steps. And the most important key thing is that before I recommend anybody, converting to veganism, I want to teach them the basics. I want to teach them how to eat dining out. So, that will get you in the routine, in the groove. So when you fully transition, it's not a big deal for you. Now, on another time, on another recording, I will actually give the breakdown, like the necessary steps, what you need to do to fully to fully what's the convert. There you go. I couldn't get it out my tongue, but fully convert. You know what I'm saying? There's layers, there's steps to it, but I don't want you to overwhelm yourself getting there. So I'm just going to teach you how to eat first. And if you're a foodie like me, and I love international food, and I wanted to pinpoint, well, with the Asian community first, because I love, love, love Asian food. I love Caribbean food. I just love food. I'm just the biggest foodie, guys, okay? But here's the key thing, right? Even though I am a foodie, I've been able to manage to transition myself from a size 18 to my size 12. And again, in another recording, I will give you the breakdown how I did that. And I did that just by changing my eating habits, just by focusing on what I eat, you know what I'm saying? And just making sure that I get the proper nutritions and, things like that. So, let me dive in this Asian cuisine with the Japanese first because I love Japanese food, but I got to be very careful, and you have to be very careful down and out. And it's not just even with the Japanese community; it's everywhere because it's very tricky out here because vegan is a trend to outsiders, and they're not realizing vegan is very serious, and they throw that word loosely around. Vegan is just not someone who just decide not to eat animal products or to eat any type of meat. It's a whole culture, you know what I'm saying? So there is a difference between plant-based and vegan. I'm not going to go with the difference here, but below I'm definitely going to put the link to my other video so you can see what is the difference between plant-based and vegan so you can have kind of like an open mind of what it really means. But of course, I just want to make sure that when you're dining out, that you're eating correctly and there's no contamination. But here is the kicker though, right? When you do eat at certain restaurants, there could be some type of cross contamination. So that's why me being on this journey, I ask thorough. And when I say thorough, honey, I ask thorough questions, and you will be shocked by what these restaurants will say vegan is, and the food is not really vegan. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I am so passionate about coming on here and talking to you tonight about what it is, right? So when it comes to the Japanese cuisine, right, tonight I'm just going to focus on the appetizers, that what you can eat when you are dining out. So Let's start there, right? So I have my little cheat sheet over here, right? I have my little cheat sheet, right? So spring rolls, right? So you would think that spring rolls is something that you can easily eat because it's nothing but consume of vegetables, right? And it is, right? But I wanted you to keep this in mind when they are enclosing the spring rolls. Is two things that I want you to keep in mind when they are enclosing the spring rolls. 9 times out of 10, they would take egg whites to close those spring rolls. Some people do. You got to ask questions, but even though they may or may not, you still going to stay away. I'm going to recommend you to stay away from spring roll for this very next tip that I'm going to talk about for spring rolls. After, of course, when they're wrapping the spring roll, what do? They fry it. What these restaurants do, they only have one fryer. It's very rare that you see restaurants with multiple fryers, right? Because their budget, and I have another video too where I actually talk about the fryers in these smaller restaurants. Their budget is small, so technically they only have one fryer. So in that one fryer, they're frying everything. So that's your spring rolls, and that's stuff that is not considered vegan. So this is why I'm advising you to stay away from spring rolls when you are dining out in any Asian cuisine because it's not vegan because it's being fried with stuff that is that's non-vegan and things like this, right? I'm gonna go down this list, right? So normally appetizer, right? When you go into a Japanese restaurant, they have the spring rolls, right? They might have fried tempura, right? Tempura vegetables. Now again, the tempura vegetables, right? The base of it, they have to dip it in something to make it crunchy, right? A lot of the times, the ingredients in that base is not plant based. Okay, that's number one. It's not plant based. Number two, again, tempura just mean that it's fried vegetables, right? So they have to deep fry it. What did I just tell you? They're deep frying it into an oil that's mixed with other things. And let me just elaborate what else is mixed with, right? It's mixed with chicken wings, uh fried ragoon, what else? Fried calamari, things of those natures, fried oysters. These are some of the fried shrimps, tempura shrimps. These are some of the basics that is actually fried with the appetizers, on a Japanese menu. So that right there, the cross contamination, that's what makes it non-vegan. The like I said, the food itself, some of the ingredients will make it vegan, but once they drop it in that hot oil, it's a wrap. So this is why I say I recommend to don't eat it. Now, if you're really serious about this journey and you want to move forward and and you say to yourself, well, you know what? Now that I know, I'm not going to go ahead and dabble in that because it's not considered plant-based or it's not considered plant-based or vegan. Now, I'm gonna say this right. When it comes to plant-based, right? There are a few ingredients that plant-based people will eat that's not fully vegan. Again, you can go to that video and you can watch. But I'm just laying out the difference that how serious you're gonna take this journey. How serious are you about the culture? How serious are you about the planet? How serious are you about these animals? How serious is about what you consume in your body? Because if you think about it, that's the key factor. That's the part that really matters. Knowing what you know and you know that, hey, that's not the route I want to take, then this is for you. You're on the right path. You're on the right journey. So I touched based on the spring rolls. We said, that's not nothing to eat. I said the fried crab ragoons, of course, because we're not eating animal products. It's animal product. Um, Tempura vegetables is out the way, and let's see. I'm looking at my list. Yes, I have a little cheat sheet to help me here, guys, because I can't remember all of this. And of course, coconut shrimps, right? So I don't know if you guys ever heard of edamames, right? Edamames are those beans. If you they have like two beans in this long pouch, this green pouch, and then you can actually suck out the bean that's in the edamames. So that is safe to eat because what they mostly do with that, they steam it and then they season it with salt, right? Also, too, miso soup. Woo! Y'all ready for this? Miso soup is not vegan. Why miso soup is not vegan? Because 9 times out of 10, the broth can consist of either beef, pork, and it's never vegetable. It's never unless you go to a Pacific restaurant, and I'll dabble that into another time. If you go to a Pacific restaurant, maybe, but never get the miso soup because the base is not vegetable based. Um, Also, too, salads. Salads are good, but if your salad comes with a creamy sauce, 10 times out of 10, that creamy sauce has mayo in it because they usually that's what they use that base, that creamy sauce to from the mayo. So I highly recommend do not eat that creamy sauce. Ask if they got like something else like a vinaigrette or something. And no, normally they'll have some type of other base, but always ask them what are the ingredients in your salad dressing. They will give it to you. They will tell you, and you let them know that due to um my diet, I can't eat certain things. So when you say it like that, your diet, and then you also inform them that you're vegan, because you know how some restaurants will say, "Hey, let us know if you have any allergies." Your diet base is just as important as your allergies. So I will always recommend that you say, "Hey, I am a vegan, so I cannot eat some of those things. What else do you have?" And then you just got to be, I know it might be a pain in the butt, but let me tell you something. If you're dining out with families and friends and stuff like that, and you just want to eat something like, I'm going to teach you how to go ahead and do that because I want you to also, one, enjoy yourself with your friends and family when you do go out, and two, and knowing how to eat, right? So, as far as right now, this is what I have just for the appetizer, just for tonight. This is just a warmer. This is just to get you in the groove, just to get you thinking, just to poke some ideas at you, to let you know this is what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Again, if you're serious about this journey, this is what's going to happen. This is the precaution that you're going to have to take. So I hope you guys enjoyed this information that I dropped tonight. I will be back tomorrow night, and I will be going more onto the entrees and things like that. And I'm gonna, of course, elaborate what to eat, what to not eat, what to watch out for, because these restaurants are really smooth. And sometimes, and I don't like this, but this is one of my biggest advice to anybody that's on the vegan journey and you're going to dine out. This is one of the biggest thing that leaves with me. If you walk into that space and it just don't feel right to you, like you feel like they're not going to really hear you, they're not going to really take care of you, is there something about that place? Don't eat from there. I'm going to tell you, probably the safest thing that I'll probably tell you to eat is probably a salad with no mayo dressing and stuff like that. And then if you're getting something to drink, of course you got to make sure you stay away from those shakes and things like that, and because it's just so much stuff in there. But a lot of people want to know this information. It's realistic. We live in a society that some people are not able to go to certain spaces and places that is all vegan. So you have to know this type of information when you're dining out. So I hope this was helpful tonight. I want to hear your feedback. Please drop it in the comment. Let me know how helpful this was to you. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you chiming in. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow night at 8:30 again. And I'll be going a little bit more deeper with the entrees and things like that. All right, everybody. So I see you then.